Taking care of your employees is extremely important and very, very visible. Larry Ellison. No doubt, technology is an indispensable part of our life these days. We don't leave technology at the workplace. Our private lives might be even more tech-enabled than our professional lives. Here is one such interesting tech titan who is a two-time college dropout but was eventually crowned as the world's richest person. For many, the university is the means to success, but it's not the only road to be taken. When carving out the paths to success, it helps to look at those who have come before us. You are watching Life Story Inc., and this is the biography of Larry Ellison. The beginnings. Larry was born to an unwed 19-year-old mother in New York City, who packed him off to his aunt's place for adoption when he was very little and ill, 9 months to be precise. It was his adoptive parents who brought him up and made him self-sufficient enough to go to college. His adoptive mother died when he was in college and he was too distraught to continue his education. He tried again but could not survive even a single semester. He dropped out of 2 consecutive colleges and never graduated. This is the time when he decided to take matters into his own hands. He couldn't see his biological mother again for almost 5 decades. However, this self-made man did not have a massive fortune handed to him on the proverbial silver platter. On the contrary, he had to work long and hard and use every ounce of his considerable skill and acumen to become the man he is today. However, what is truly fascinating is the fact that he did not have a normal childhood. In any sense of the term, Ellison is a man who achieved brilliance against all odds because of his courage, talent, strong ideas, and hard work. Ellison bounced around from job to job, between companies like Wells Fargo and the mainframe manufacturer Amdahl. Along the way, he learned computer and programming skills, and he was finally able to put them to use as a programmer at Amdahl, where he worked on the first IBM-compatible mainframe system. He then moved on to Ampex Corporation, an American-based electronics company, before co-founding his own software company. Larry Ellison saw many challenges and rejections, but there is a voice inside everyone that helps to obtain something bigger than your expectations. The Stepping Stones. In the early 1970s, when he was still working at Ampex, Ellison was inspired by a paper written by Edgar F. Codd, a relational database system called A Relational Model of Data for Large Shared Data Banks. While other software giants did not see any potential in the report, Ellison did. He wanted to take advantage of the booming software industry, which was rapidly growing and was almost instantly raising challenges for competitors. Later, Ellison and his 2 fellow mates from Amdahl launched Software Development Labs, SDL. Their company did contracted programming work for other companies, but the desire to be bigger and better was ever present. They set out to create a market data management tool that was solely based on Code's idea. The trio worked hard to create a new way to store and manage data, eventually resulting in them getting a 2-year contract from none other than the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, to develop a relational database management system, RDBMS, in 1978. The birth of Oracle. Indeed, it was this very concept of storing and managing data in a new and efficient way that led Larry to branch off into a whole new world of entrepreneurship by creating a business entity that went on to becoming the global saddling colossus, Oracle, in 1979. If you do everything that everyone else does in business, you're going to lose. The only way to really be ahead is to be different. This was a theory Ellison stood by. He wanted his creation, Oracle, to achieve compatibility with the newly formed IBM System Inc., which was like Oracle based on Codd's theories, but IBM refused to share System R's code. The initial release of Oracle in 1979 was called Oracle 2. There was, however, no Oracle 1. Larry Ellison called it Oracle version 2 since he knew buyers would prefer that to a version 1. The company renamed itself Relational Software Inc. The journey ahead. Despite dropping out of college twice, the Billionaires focused on constant learning. At the beginning of 1980s, SDL Software Development Laboratories had only 8 employees and revenue that barely touched $1 million. But the following year, IBM contracted with Oracle And for the next 7 years, company sales doubled to the point that Ellison renamed the firm in 1982 as Oracle Corporation after its best-selling product. At work, Ellison doesn't rely on productivity hacks to get ahead. What keeps him going is a self-described addiction to winning. During the dot-com boom, Oracle was selling database to all the companies riding the wave. When Mark Benioff, who used to work for Larry Ellison, expressed his desire to start his venture called Salesforce, and in the year 2000, Larry Ellison invested $2 million in it. Salesforce now generates a revenue of $10 billion and ranks second on the Fortune 500 list. Oracle later went on to acquire HR software provider PeopleSoft, Hyperion Solutions, Siebel Systems, and Sun Microsystems, which was the creator of the Java program language. This particular acquisition gave Oracle key technology and control of the MSQL database. The Wall Street Journal called Larry Ellison the world's highest-paid administrator. As a key player, he knows how to take advantage of the booming software industry, rapidly growing and raising challenges for competitors. Oracle grew rapidly and had its initial public offering IPO in 1986 after reporting revenue of $55 million. But the hard-charging and aggressive sales pitch propelled the company soon turned against it because the product could not meet the promise of salesmen. The sales staff appeared to be overly driven, while the product was labeled as being crappy. Apparently, the software was written with bugs and the customers were left furious. Oracle's success was temporarily dried up in 1990 when it posted its first negative earnings report. Oracle's market capitalization fell by 80%, which hammered the stock, pointing the company towards a possible bankruptcy. Accepting the need for drastic change, Ellison radically reorganized the staff as he shifted his focus on product development and hired more seasoned managers. For the first time, he delegated the management side of the business to professionals and channeled his energies into the product development. The changes really paid off and they finally hit the jackpot when the company released Oracle 7 in 1992, which is a management system used for warehousing and online transaction processing, which swept the company to the top of the database management field. The path towards becoming a billionaire. By 1994, the company's stock had regained much of its previous value, which made the company the leading developer of database management software, restoring Oracle's stock price in the year. Ellison had successfully saved the company from an internal financial crisis and kept them from going under through some key restructuring. From there, Ellison never stopped innovating. He attempted to compete with the personal computer, PC, with his own cheap alternative, the network computer, NC. He embraced the internet earlier than most and it used the Oracle's advantage. Larry Ellison's adoptive dad many times told him, "You are good for nothing." But Larry Ellison's never-say-die attitude made him one of the world's richest people. "Becoming a billionaire was never my aim," Larry told the Smithsonian Institution. "When I started Oracle Corporation, what I wanted to do was to create a place where I would enjoy working. That was my first goal. Sure, I want to make a living. I certainly never expected to become rich. Certainly not this rich." He added, "I mean, the rich do not even describe this. This is surreal." Larry Ellison can be taken as a source of inspiration for many reasons. One of them being is the zeal to take risks and have those risks pay off. He ruthlessly snatched up other companies and brought them into the Oracle fold. Oracle's fortunes continued to rise throughout the 1990s. Not only is Ellison a businessman, but he is also well known for his interest in many adventurous activities. So, it does not come as a surprise to know that he is a licensed pilot. Ellison is a principal supporter of the BMW Oracle racing team, which has been a significant force in the American Cup competition. His yacht, Rising Sun, over 450 feet long, is the largest privately owned vessel in the world. A leader is born. Larry was an autocratic leader who is known for taking total control of a situation and taking the necessary actions, regardless of what the rest of his team or his employees have to say about it. This has resulted in him being criticized for his controlling, inconsiderate business practices, but it's almost as if he takes pride in his autocratic ways. Ellison himself has said he models his leadership after samurai principles, and his ruthless tactics and determination to succeed are just part of the samurai inspiration leadership style of his. There is a strange technique that Ellison used to motivate his employees. You see, several employees have talked about Ellison's habit of wandering around the office with a stack of gold coins in his pocket. When he came across an employee who he felt deserved a little reward, he popped out a gold coin and handed it to them. Larry Ellison's leadership style can be summed up in one single key to success. He knows his industry inside and out. Every choice he makes, every move he makes, every action he makes, it all circles back to the fact that Ellison is doing what he knows is best for the company, for the industry, and for the technology itself. Takeaway points? Believe in your ideas. Sometimes small ideas work very effectively. Sometimes great ideas fail. Larry Ellison. Be adaptable and don't be afraid to take extreme steps if necessary. Degree can decide your future. Education is a powerful weapon that will help you to face the world, but it doesn't mean if you don't have this weapon, you will lose your rounds. Larry Ellison 2 times dropped out of 2 consecutive universities. Even most of the top entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley don't have a degree, but still they are leaders in the industry. So what have you learned from this life story? Mention in the comments below. If you liked the video, give it a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel for more content on entrepreneurs and their life stories. Watch the life stories of other entrepreneurs by clicking the link below.